Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to MindShifters Radio. Jeannie, this is Carol.
Hi.
Hi.
Is David on there with us?
He is. You have to call in at the host number. You called in as the guest number, the co-host number.
Oh, I thought David was going to call in as the host, and I was just going to run the switchboard. So,
David, are you there?
David?
I'm here.
David, are you there? Hi, David. So, David, you go ahead and do the show. Jeannie, one of you, did you call in at the host number?
Did I?
Do you have it with you?
I just called it.
So, hello, everybody. We're just getting things underway here. A little bit of just communication, I guess. So, which would be a great topic for today. So, who's calling in? Who's going to call in as host? Because I'm in a meeting right now.
Okay. I don't have the number, so David, why don't you hang up and call back in?
Okay, Jeannie. Jeannie, and you do the show. It's right there on your screen on the switchboard.
Okay.
David, do you have the number?
Do I have a code or something that I have to put?
Does David have the number?
No.
David. Okay, I've got it here on the screen. I'll call in. All right.
And you see the host pen?
I do.
Okay, David, go ahead and do the show. Keep talking, okay? And I'm going to hang up. So have a wonderful show, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye.
Well, welcome, everyone, once again to MindShifters Talk Radio. It is fascinating of what goes on with this. And they asked me, for me to keep talking. A lot of people would like for me to stop talking at times. And anyway, welcome to the MindShifters Talk Radio. We began in January of 2010. 2011. And Carol Guy, who hosts the Fifth Dimensional Living on Monday, and on Earth Angel Radio. So we're so grateful that we have this opportunity, and for all of you that are listening in, our phone number to call in on is 646-200-4169. That's 646-200-4169. And if you're on the chat room, Jeannie should be there available to be able to watch the chat and to if you have some questions, if you'd like to participate. And one of the things that I was talking with Jeannie about is that, this is a conversation talk show. And conversation means, we'll exchange ideas and thoughts. This is about opening the space in order to learn things differently, see things differently. That's why it's called the Mind Shifters. We shift whatever the energies that we have going on in us and shift and maybe see things in a different way. One of the what we're going to be doing daily now, and we're working out all of these different things of how to create and to build this, just like a Mind Shifters group. And we have Mind Shifters groups throughout the country, and we're going to be setting it up to where that there are going to be folks from each of the Mind Shifters groups that are going to participate in the call. And one of the things we're going to be doing is a key thought for each day. And this falls right in alignment to what the subject is today, and that is, the key thought is give yourself the opportunity to think new thoughts and test out the new behaviors that will come from about as using these new thoughts. What are the results that you create? That's a lot of people have heard that statement, the definition of insanity. And insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over and expect to get different results. As long as we're doing what it is that we keep on doing, we're going to keep on getting what it is that we've been getting. So if you'd like to shift and to have things created differently in your world, then it begins with the mind energy. It does begin in thought. For many years I was under the belief and that as long as I did things, if I would just do this, then I'd feel a certain way. And I spent most of my life following instructions about, if I just do this, then I'll feel a certain way. And after many years with it, I discovered that just doing something doesn't change the way it is that I feel. Or it might distract me for a few moments, and I'll do something differently and have a different feeling at that particular time. And then all of a sudden, when I stop doing that behavior, those feelings that I was wanting to deal with are still there. So it begins with the mind energy in the Aramaic language, and that's one of the disciplines that we talk about in philosophies where we go to. The Aramaic language, which is the language of Yeshua, then we've been told that it says in the beginning was the Word, and actually it was in the beginning was the mind energy. It began with the mind energy, and from the mind energy then we create words to symbols to associate with that, and then they generate the feelings. So the key thought is to give yourself the opportunity to think new thoughts and test them out. We've invited some folks to play this little game called Building the Brain Cells, and that means that if you will do something differently, if you want to go to our website of www.whyagain.com and download any of the tools, and this particular one is called the Reality Management Tool, and it is about forgiveness. Forgiveness being something other than, I'll be bigger than you and let you off the hook for what it is that you did. Forgiveness is about going in and letting go, which is what it means to let go or untie the energies that you're holding around a certain issue, a certain event, person, and so forth. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And, Jeannie, are you on now? Are you able to?
I am. So, hi. Welcome, everybody, to MindShifters Radio. Working out all of the technical difficulties.
Yeah. And welcome back, Jeannie. I'm glad that you got to spend some time with your family yesterday. And it was so great that Carol was on there and the support. Nice that she was there to know intuitively about being on the show today and doing what it is that you needed to be doing. One of the things that I did want to cover, Jeannie, was there was a gal that called yesterday, a young lady called yesterday. Her name is Ann, and she was calling about some reference to an issue around her husband who had been in an accident and had some brain damage. And I told her we would give her the link to the website where she might want to go get some. So if you are on there and you're the person, I think it was Ann that was yesterday that called in. If you're there, then you can go to our website. And Jeannie, you want to tell her what she does when she gets to the website?
Okay. If you go to our website, we have a link that it's if you go down, scroll down the page to the menus, and it says Stories, Quotes, and Links. And if you click on that, then you will also see there's lots of links out there, lots of places where you can go and check out different stuff. But check out brainplace.com and go there and look at the spec imagery and all of those things.
I'm going to open my own stuff up.
Pardon? I hear Carol out there.
You do? Yes, I'm here. I see we have people in the chat room today, too. So I want to just let everybody know if they want to put a question in the chat room that they can do that. And I'm just kind of showing a new host. Yeah, I'm in a very noisy area right now. So just wanted to make sure that the chat room gets opened and that we have people in there too.
It is open, but it actually will not let me in. It's like
it won't let you in.
It will not let me in. So I don't know why it tells me I have to log in, but I'm logged in because I'm looking at the switchboard. So just lots of technical difficulties today.
Trying to get in, see if that works. So,
all right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So. Okay. So,
very good.
Okay, I'm going to leave you guys alone because I know it's noisy here. I'm just kind of showing a new host that we have coming on with us soon, probably in April. So have a wonderful show, and I'll talk to you guys later again.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Carol. Much
Bye.
appreciated.
Bye.
Such fun.
Yes. Opportunities to build the brain cells and to handle,
Absolutely.
And notice that, stress gets up when things are not going the way that it is that we want, and then we have a choice. We can choose then of where we want to come from. We come from our love filter. We can come from our true essence of who it is that we are, and handle it in that way, or we can and let go of the hostility and fear or nervousness or fear, scaredness, whatever that is, and choose it a different way. So we all have those opportunities day in and day out. So for a person that called in yesterday, and again, I think her name is Ann, that you can go to our website and you can link up to it. It's called brainplace.com, and the doctor's name is Dr. Amen, A-M-E-A-N, Amen, and it's an interesting story of how he got started with his name being that. So if you want to go there and take a look at that, and for those that we've invited to do a worksheet yesterday, and maybe she did, to call back in and to let us know how that was. Remember, you can't do something you don't know if you keep doing what it is that you do know. So we're inviting you to build the brain cells and to learn something different, and for you to have your own experience of that, not for it to be for you to agree with me or to agree with Michael or to agree with this work or anything. It's about for you to have your own experience of that. I do want to say thank you to Dr. Tim Hayes, who yesterday who participated with some feedback, and also if you go to his website, he's a great little talk on forgiveness. He did that and gave me a nice little insight and a piece about forgiveness that I hadn't noticed before, presenting in a way, and that was, why do we want to be forgiven, and why do we want to forgive? And with the word that what Dr. Tim said was, why do we want to forgive them, or why do we want to be forgiven? And it's to forego the punishment. And forego means to do without. It's kind of like that's what we were brought up to believe, at least I was, that, if somebody forgives me, then I won't be punished. Or if I forgive somebody else, then I won't be punishing them. And yet we have it all so backwards with that. It's about us letting go of what it is that were the energies that we're holding into us, in our own energy field. Because we have this energy field of love, our true essence of who it is that we are. And I had a wonderful opportunity to tap into that this morning. One of the references that Michael invites people to do is, have you ever held a newborn baby within 24, 48 hours, or just as a baby, and to describe what the essence of that child is. And a lot of people have said miracle, incredible, exuberant, awesome, loving, gentle, kind. And those are the words that we kind of categorize underneath of love, of what it is. So this morning I woke up to a text message that my son Bradley sent me a picture of his newest born, Nova, Michael, that was born last December the 6th, and such a beautiful picture of him. So now I have him on my phone as my wallpaper, and it's just really so unique to be able to tap into that. So that's our true essence. So everyone comes into the world this way, and what has to happen for us to lose that? Not necessarily to lose it, to dissociate ourselves from who it is that we truly are. So anyway, Jeannie, just checking in with you. Do we have any questions or comments from the chat room or anybody on the line?
We have just people sitting out there. I think they're just listening. There's no one with their hand up on the phone. I did get a hold of Vernie earlier, and so she said she'd be glad to call in the first part of the show. And what David and I had been talking about was different people who had attended different intensives. And first of all, before I get any further, I would like to just put a big thank you out to Carol Guy for making this possible for us to be on Blog Talk Radio. And she is on Earth Angels, that's plural, Radio, Earth Angels Radio, and she has created a support button out there. And what we would like is, and this is for all of her different hosts that she has on the show, people call in and donate to help support and click on the different programs. Like if you're calling in to support the MindShifter Radio, click on ours and put in the support for that, and part of it goes to us, and part of it goes to Carol, and we just want to thank her for making possible all the different opportunities for people to support us so that we can continue supporting you as listeners. And that is just absolutely awesome, and we thank her for that. The call-in number is, if you have a question, it's 646-200-4169. And we actually have a caller on the line, and I believe that it is Miss Vernie. Vernie, are you on there?
Yes, I am on the line. Can you hear me? I'm still trying to figure out all of this website stuff.
We can absolutely hear you. So,
great.
Dave, do you want to talk about the intensive for just a second and then let Vernie give her testimony on it?
Oh, absolutely. Hi, Vernie. Thank you for being on here today. And, for everyone that's out there, Jeannie was talking about the different sponsors that are on Earth Angel, and we don't have like marketing and advertising. We really, we do this word of mouth, and for people that have had experiences and different successes with doing the work, and so that they can share that with other people, and that's how we spread this around. So that people get an idea, well, what can I get? And there's all walks of people that have been coming here to Heartland and been doing Michael's work for a number of years, over 20-some-odd years here at Heartland. And I've been living here for 4 years now, and I've seen dozens and dozens of people that have come in from all walks of life that have all different types of issues going on with them. And then when they leave here with them, they actually have more than just feeling better. It's that they have really learned how to let go of certain issues and things that have been going on with them that they may have been carrying for years and even generations that are no longer an issue for them. So the intensives are for 9-day modules. We'll be doing 65 days intensive this summer, from the why again to teachers training to codependence to independence to the laws of living, intuitive development, and Course in Miracles, and still point breathing. So you'll be learning lots of different things and meeting with lots of different people, and we'll talk about that a little bit more of what is involved in it later on this week. Within, we hope to have Ari, one of our chefs, that come here to prepare some food. We'll talk about that. And Vernie, are you ready to tell about what your experience was like in coming to the intensive?
Yes, I will. But first, I want to give a message to Ari. Ari, please do a cookbook, a non-cook cookbook that is for fewer than 30 people. I have a difficult time cutting down the recipes. Anyway.
I understand that one.
Pardon me?
We'll work with that. Actually, I'll talk with Ari about how to do that. You can go to, they do have a program where that you can put certain amounts of ingredients in, like if you were to go to allrecipes.com. If you want it for 10 people, then you punch it in, and it'll just tell you exactly what it is. So we'll eventually get to that.
Yeah, because it gets, after a while, I keep cutting it down, and I have more than I need. But anyway, that's good. About the intensives, let's see, I don't even remember when the first time I came up to Heartland. I think it was in the mid-'90s that I met Michael here in Memphis at the Unity Church. And I don't even remember what year it was that I came up to do an intensive. Mm-hmm. I've done several of them. I've also brought people up there for short periods, weekends, and such like that. And I've worked with all of the tools in varying degrees. But being at Heartland is really the cat's meow. I've often thought over the last couple of years, after I retired, that I just needed to take 2 years and come and live up at Heartland. But choices that I've made in my life. Thank you. Choices I've made in my life, which I have to bring to a close, precludes that, or at least I use that as an excuse right now. But the Heartland is very unique. It's a wonderfully rustic experience, getting better and better all the time. It's amazing how much y'all have grown and expanded. The thing that I think I love most about Heartland and being there at the intensives is that I get to focus on myself. And most of us are taught, or many of us are taught throughout our lives, even though we come into this world really joyous and doing the things that we want to do as children and playing and just loving life, they get systematically kind of programmed out of us, and we begin thinking that our purpose here on earth is to rescue other people. And I spent a lot of years rescuing a lot of people and really did not learn how to take care of myself and my own emotional needs and such. And so this is the process that Heartland has been able to support me in doing my own work. And for those who are thinking about going there, it's not going to be someplace where they, if you don't do your work, you don't do your work. And there's encouragement and support, but nobody can feed the healing into you. And it's a process of learning how to discipline yourself to do the work. And as Michael and Jeannie and maybe you, David, know, I have been a worksheet procrastinator.
You too?
Big time.
No.
Yes, even though I'm teaching this stuff, and my students are much better worksheet workers than I am. But I've also memorized it, so I do it through, processing an everyday thing. The thing that the experience with Heartland and with the Why Again process and the forgiveness process is that I used to take months and months to get over an anger. If as we used to say, if somebody hurt me, which I know now it just simply triggers an energy that's already in me, it would take me sometimes months, sometimes years to get over what I perceived to be an offense towards me. And I found now through the processing, through the worksheets, and I have binders full of worksheets. It's just I don't have 5 a day forever, that I can now find myself within about 30 seconds of realizing that I'm in upset. I can shift myself through MindShifters back out of that upset and get myself back into balance enough so that I can think logically about the situation. I think somewhere along the way I was taught that, and maybe it was up at Heartland, that I think Michael teaches us this, that when you get to a level 7 of intensity of anger, rage, fear, that our minds go insane. And that if we're in a situation and you've got 2 people who are at that point, the person who is most sane is the one who has the responsibility of de-escalating and pulling themselves out of the situation and getting back into balance. And that, I think, has been the biggest gift that I've learned through that, is my ability to catch myself when I'm going into those, when I've been triggered by someone. And I've also found that I've learned patience with myself, because I got impatient. I want to learn this stuff immediately now. And what I found is that this process is a 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I had to learn to forgive myself for the 1 step back. And to just focus on the 2 forward.
Yourself.
Pardon me?
I would invite you to let go of forgiving yourself. There's nothing for you to forgive yourself or anyone else. You want to just forgive of the energy that is holding that in there.
Right. And I guess I spoke that incorrectly, but that was the thing I had to learn, is that there was no need to forgive myself at that, because I would punish myself for it, and I found that this is just a process, this is a natural process. And actually sometimes I found that there are times where I have to just enjoy being in that one step back place for a little bit. And then I'm re-energized then to go to the next step forward. And I cannot, only I know the tremendous change and the tremendous relief of fear energy that I grew up with, and anger energy and such like that. So I recommend anybody who can get to Heartland in any way you can to take the opportunity of going through some of the different classes.
Very good. Thank you so much. And you may not notice it, and my guess is, though, that you've seen it in your world with people and how they interact with you, that it's a lot different.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what the key is. And remember, it's not so much that they've even changed. What they're really actually doing is seeing your true essence of who it is that you are. You've let go of some hostility and some anger and fear. And remember, whatever energies it is that we have in us, we put it out there to draw that person or that situation to us in order to give us an opportunity to heal. Do you remember, in the cartoons and the little different comedy things about the person that walks around with the sign that says, "Kick me"?
Oh, yeah.
That's the same. That's exactly what happens with the energies that we have stored within us. That if we have rage or hostility or sadness or anything, we actually wear a sign that says, "Please show me what it is that I have." So the people that are coming into our life are the blessings. They're our greatest gift from God to show us what it is that the energies that we have that we need to remove. So when you talk about that you no longer are angry for a week or 2 weeks or even years, and incidentally, I was that same way as well, and a lot of people that I know, that they would get upset, and they would be upset for 5 or 10, 15, 20 years, even their whole life. And they never remembered it, though, until someone came and reminded them of that. They think that they have it healed. It's like when people say that they have forgiven someone for what it is that they did, or I've forgiven my parents, or I've forgiven my husband, my wife, and the truth of it is most of the time they have just dissociated from that. And what you said there, Vernie, was so important, is that if I'm willing to punish, then I haven't done the forgiveness work. Because part of the traditional way that we have been programmed to believe of what forgiveness is that there has to be punishment with it. So to get someone to forgive us for something, then it's, as Dr. Tim was talking about, it's to forego the punishment. The truth of it is, though, is that we punish ourselves by holding on to that. And we're always going to draw someone to us in order to give us the opportunity to heal. And as you pointed out, when they come to Heartland, one of the things that Michael will say to folks is that we have invited everyone in your life that you have ever had an issue with, a problem with, a challenge with. We've invited every one of them to come to Heartland, and they've all agreed to show up. So,
and they do.
Coming to Heartland, you'll have an opportunity, and sometimes that may seem a little bit, what do you mean, David? How is that going to work? The truth of it is that we carry everyone with us all the time anyway. It's just whether it's on the conscious level or an unconscious level. And so that's what it is that we will be doing here at Heartland. And it's a safe, nurturing, warm, rustic place where people will have an opportunity to, as you talked about, there to let go of all of the busy everyday things and pay attention to ourselves. You know, we're so inundated with doing this, doing that, taking care of this, you know, taking our children to soccer, taking this, making sure this person gets this done, that we never take time out for ourselves. I used to do work in corporations in teaching these principles to people that come to work. You know, they come to work every single day, and they have all of this stress, and they go home, and they take the stress home, and then they come back. No wonder that they're waiting for the weekends, hoping that things will lighten up. But it doesn't work that way. We have to be able to know how to nurture and take care of ourselves. So, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Before Vernie goes, I would like for her to add. Are you still doing a support group there in Memphis?
I am doing the support group here, and we're currently meeting on Wednesdays at 2:00, which will be another 30 minutes here. And my number here is 901-522-1776 for anyone in the Memphis area who might be interested in joining us.
Okay, you're meeting on Wednesday at 2?
At 2:00, Wednesday at 2:00,
okay.
Right. And
I'll make sure that that's on their website, too.
Okay. All right. That'll be good. One of the things, before I have to go, is there somebody else in line on the phone?
No, there's not. There's not anybody on there.
Okay, so then I'll some of the results that I've had are things I've seen in about the last year and a half, which one thing I tell my students is that you may do worksheets for 6 months, a year at a time, and you may not really see any major thing, but one day you'll wake up and you'll just know that it's different. And so we don't always get immediate results from worksheets, except that I had a little experience this year. I have this mental block on computers, and I was supposed to get something done, and I just, every time I would sit down to do it, I'd get this knot in my stomach. So while Terry was here, I did 9 worksheets on the same subject within about 4 or 5 hours of time. And in regard to my computer. Well, the next day my computer crashed.
Terry's also on the line, too.
Hey, Terry. So my computer crashed, and I had to buy a new one. And 3 weeks after I bought my new computer, it was stolen out of a friend's car, and that was locked. And so I had to buy a third computer because the insurance company said that because there was no sign of forced entry, that they would not cover the cost. So here I'd done 9 worksheets on computers and my relationship with computers, and all of a sudden chaos broke loose in regard to computers. But through my training at Heartland and through the worksheets and all of the other tools that Michael has developed, I was able to shift immediately into a space of, let me see the gift in this. Let me see the gift in this. And that's what I would say. And I'd jump around my room going, thank you for the trees, thank you for the water, thank you for the river, thank you for the sky, thank you, and kept myself into a space that I would not allow myself to go into a place of fear about it. And it wasn't I wasn't suppressing the fear. I was shifting, doing a mind shift into where I wanted to see. I wanted to see the gift of it. So when I went to get the second new computer, the day I got there, they said, well, we're sorry that you lost your computer, but guess what? Today is the first day of the upgraded computers. And so you have a new upgraded computer, and we're giving away a free wireless Epson printer for anybody who buys the new computer. And so I joke about it, tell everybody that I got a free computer that I only had to pay $1,200 for. Or a free printer that I only had to pay $1,200 for. But the thing was that because of my work with my worksheets and in the area around money and such like that, I didn't, even though it took a considerable amount, I had to pay cash for these things, that, because I don't let myself, go into debt any longer, or I don't choose to go into debt any longer, that...
You choose to be debt-free.
That's exactly right. I choose to be debt-free, thank you. That I just was at peace. And I found that at the end of, when I paid my bills and paid the computer and this, that I ended up with $16 for the rest of the month. And that did not even bother me because I have a roof over my head, I have food, I have my car, I have gas in my car, and I was just at peace. It was just really interesting because I had not been in this situation for quite a while, and to see the difference that the work and the training that I've done had on this situation, and then I guess a few days later I got a insurance reimbursement check that came in. But all of that is just nothing compared to what the internal thing was that went on, and I just found myself staying in a place of peace where, a few years ago I would have been not at that space.
Wonderful. Congratulations. And may I make a few comments about what came up for me while you were talking about
Please
that?
Please do.
So for some feedback. So one is that notice that in order for you to get to that place, what I heard you say was that Terry was there, and by the support of Terry being there and that added energy, you were willing to go and you were doing your work. You did your worksheets. That's one. The other thing is that when you talked about that you weren't hiding the feelings that were going on, which is really important because a lot of people have been taught to do positive thinking and to cover it up. You were being there and you were holding the space of love, what we refer to as holding the space of love, which is a higher vibratory energy in order to dissipate any of the fear. That there was no fear, that the fears that were keeping you from even dealing with this. And notice that, and I find it, one of the things that I find out fascinating is this thing about you with computers, and for the people that don't know it, you're an airline pilot. My gosh. I'm going, what? How could you be fearful of an airline? That she flies airplanes. My goodness. So, to me, it's not around the issue of that computer. That computer resonated some energy that was fearful within you that you healed. Has nothing to do with the computer. Nothing. Right. That was just the trigger. That was what it was that you needed to resonate to let go, to build your strength in holding the space of love, of looking at the other things, of the gratitude of what it is that you're grateful for, rather than to buy in to the belief and add energy to fear about, I can't, I do this. And it's so easy. And we're so living such a culture that people want to jump on the bandwagon, oh, you poor thing, oh, no, they broke into your car. That's just terrible. And that just adds energy to it. Right. When people come here to Heartland or when we talk with them and they go, oh, I've got a cold, we go, great, good for you. Right. Your body is healing. It's in a healing process with that. Now, to a mind that's closed that says, oh, wait, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. It does make sense. A simple example is when children or when anyone gets a fever, what's the purpose of the fever? The body it increases its temperature in order to kill off whatever it is that's in there. Right. So if we go in and kill off the fever, we want to eliminate the fever, we've done more damage with that. Mm-hmm. So I invite you to acknowledge yourself and the work that you've done, and I hear it in your voice, in the way that it is that you're expressing that. The other where it is. The other feedback that I got, and this is what's finding interesting, because I'm even getting more interested in doing worksheets, because
Well, I also, since I'm telling my students they have to do theirs, or I invite them to do theirs. I invite them to do theirs. But, and they are very good at doing their worksheets, and I'm seeing some amazing progress with several of the students. And they teach me, even though, I learn so much. I learn more from them probably than they do from me. And I also find myself that during the week, something will come up, and I'll go, wait a minute, you told the students this, now you need to listen to yourself. You need to listen to what you told. But the thing I'm finding with the worksheets is there's an adventure, kind of an adventure to see what happens after I've done a worksheet. And once I got the new computer, it was interesting. I have this real urge and fascination to really learn this thing and learn everything about it, which I was, it was a big difference than having knots in my stomach when I would have to go think. And so those worksheets, those 9 worksheets, even though, I'm seeing the effects of having done that in my whole attitude, because I changed the subconscious. I changed the thought process, even though I didn't consciously, or I'm not consciously aware of it. I know that the worksheets were doing the inner work. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It does sound like that you've taken it to a whole new level, and it is, it is easier. What is that, the expression that we give children? Don't do as I do as I tell you to do.
Yeah.
No, and what do children always do? Children always mirror back to us what it is that we need to be doing.
Right.
And you're talking about this teacher and student and so forth, and this is my reality and my projection around the meaning of teacher and student. To me, they're synonymous. They're the same. They're like in cause effect in the Aramaic language. That's one word. To me, teacher-student is the same word. Without someone else, I can't teach, and who it is that I'm teaching is myself. I'm not teaching anyone else. I'm teaching myself.
I should have used the word. The better word to use would be facilitator in that, or with that class rather than teacher.
Yeah, you're facilitating it, and the word facilitate, what that word means, and some people that are facilitators aren't aware of what the meaning of that is. And the facilitator of the word facilitate is to make easy, to make it to where a person knows and understands it, to make it easier.
Oh, cool.
That's what a facilitator does. That's what a facilitator does. See, we've been so inundated with this language that, I'm supposed to make sure that they get this. It's like in the school system. I have to teach them. They're indoctrinating them. They're not teaching them. Remember, to educate means to draw out, not to put something in. And that's where the mistake is going with. So you want to facilitate. You want to make it easy. You want it to flow for them. And the easiest way to do that is to do it ourselves, because they're the reflection of where it is that we're at and what we need to be doing. If you don't believe me, just check with your children. Your children will show you exactly what it is that you haven't dealt with.
Boy, that's the truth.
Always. That's the way that it is. So thank you once again. It's been fabulous. And, feel welcome to invite your participants in your class, in your MindShifters group, to get on the radio and talk about what it is that they're learning about themselves through you.
All right.
I shall. Pardon me?
Thank you so much. All right.
You're so welcome. We'll talk to you later.
You're doing great, Jeannie. It was great talking to you again. And everybody out there, do some worksheets. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Vernie. Appreciate you. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with it, if you go to our website, you can, and that's whyagain.com, and scroll down on the right-hand side in the menu bar and click on support groups. And under support groups, you'll find the first thing is locations, where you can click and find a list of support groups everywhere in the United States. It's alphabetical by state, and there may be some out there that I've still got listed, and they haven't let me know that they're no longer meeting, but we have them listed out there, so no matter where you go across the United States, you can find a support group and someone to help you continue to use these tools. You know, there is an African proverb that Michael uses a lot, and it says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we need support. We need people around us to help us, you know, keep us accountable, keep us on track. And also under that same support group page, you'll find, you know, guidelines for people who are running a support group or who are interested in doing a support group. Not that we have rules or anything, but just kind of guidelines that we've learned sort of the hard way, you know, on our own, and there's no need of anybody reinventing the wheel. So just some suggestions and information out there, you know, like about the venue, what kind of format, what do you do. There's information on stuck points, where we have seen where people get stuck doing the worksheets and how to get them past that. Then there's suggestions to the facilitators. There's a connection to Dr. Tim Hayes. He has a blog for the MindShifters support group, and he runs a support group up in the Chicago area, in Crystal Lake, actually. And so there's a link to his site. There's just all kinds of information out there. So if you're looking for some support, perhaps that will assist. And again, our call-in number to ask questions, we have about 13 minutes left, is 646-200-4169. And Terry, I've got you turned on, so if you have a comment or something that you want to add, well, I thought I did. It's not going to turn you on here. There you go. Now you're on the air if you want to say something as well. And we also, again, want to send people to earthangelsradio.com, and that's Carol Guy's website, and she's the one that has made this possible for us to be on the Blog Talk Radio, Earth Angels Radio Show. And so, David, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Jeannie. And for those that are listening and want to go to Dr. Tim Hayes' website, then you'll be able to and listen to the talk that he gave at Unity Church up in Crystal Lake this I think it was last Sunday or a week before. It was just really fabulous. It was one of the best talks that I've heard. It's so very, very good. So, and I know Terry was going to be listening, and I didn't know if he wanted to participate today or not. He's kind of involved. And so if you get a click from him from a 1, well, then he's ready to talk. If he's there, well, then you can go ahead and say something, Terry.
Yeah, hey, guys. I was listening to Vernie share. I wanted to thank her for her awesome support and acknowledge her for her persistence and dedication. And thank her. She has let me stop over at her place on the way back and forth from Carolina to Heartland, and that's really nice. And I wanted to acknowledge her for all that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a question. I've got someone I'm working with on the responsibility communication sheet, and I was looking for the example, the letter that Michael often shares, that the son wrote to his father. Is that on the website? I was wondering.
You know what? I'm not sure. Let me look here. You keep talking, and I'll look and see if I can find it. If it's not, that would be a good thing for us to put out there.
Yeah, I'm sure that it is. But anyway, so what was your question about the letter? Was that it? If it was on the website?
Yeah, I was thinking that that would be a nice support tool. It gives someone a different perspective than the one-on-one they may be having with the individual, and it would be another nice tool to be able to share and opening up some different understandings and views around using those tools, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're 100%, correct with all that, Terry. You being in the construction world that you're in, knowing that I have the right tool for the right job is so important. There's a hammer, and then there's a hammer for putting trim work up, and there's a hammer for putting 2x4s up. You taught me that. And so there's a tool there to select from whatever it is that's going on in your life. It's not just the forgiveness tool. That's one of the many tools that's in the toolbox. So we invite people to take a look at that, to explore and see what it is that works for you, where you're at with it in your life, and what would be appropriate for you to be using, what's going to be the best tool for you to be using for the situation that you're dealing with right now. And let's see, there was something else I was going to say. Anyway, any questions out there? Anybody participating? Is there anyone that's been in the chat room and or listening that has taken on the challenge to do one worksheet? Notice that, here was an invitation, a challenge to do one worksheet, just one, a day, and then to come on and give some feedback of what it is that you're noticing, what it is that's different, any insights that you have about it. So if there's anyone out there that has anything to comment about that, well, then please do. And if not, well, then what else do we want to talk about, Jeannie?
Okay, nobody out there has any questions, but Patrick did say that he would volunteer to be the call-in for tomorrow to talk about Heartland. So we'll hear from Patrick tomorrow. So that's cool.
Okay.
And don't have any questions. Everybody else is online. Terry, that is not out there. I've made myself a note, so I will get that from Michael, and I'll get it on the website. So that's a good idea. Thank you for that suggestion.
And what I found in looking for that was, once again, I'm just amazed at the depth of information and all the tools that are available in that search bar within the site. I'm not sure how that all works, but it is phenomenal, all the things that bring up within the site. It's just amazing the way that there's so much material, the body of work that Michael has brought together and has dedicated his life to. It just inspires me every time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll pass it on to him. I did finally get an email from him, and he did make it to Cat Key fine. They don't have cell service, so he can't call in, but he did say to tell everybody hello and that he was holding the space for us. So.
Great. Oh, that's fabulous.
7 minutes left, and it doesn't look like anybody has admitted to taking on that challenge. So I don't know if anyone out there is doing their one worksheet a day. If you are, call in. We've got just a few minutes left on the show, 646-200-4169, or go into the chat room and acknowledge that you did it and let us know how it went.
Yeah. Very good. So there was a couple of questions that some folks had of me, and I don't know if who all is listening. I may have a few friends and relatives that are out there listening about this information that I'm putting out there. That's like, wow, that's crazy, David. That's insane. That doesn't make sense what it is that you're saying. And one of them was around about how we see things differently, that no two people can see the same thing as what the other person is doing. It's impossible. We will see things that we will agree that, in essence, they are the same. We call them certain things, and I'm talking about if we're looking at a tree. Everyone that looks at it may look at it and even call it a tree. Some people will look at it and they'll know another name for it. They'll say it's an ash tree or it's an oak tree, or they'll say that it's an apple tree. Now, the only reason that they say it's that is because they have brain cells in there that fire up and say they have information saying, oh, this is what kind of tree that is. For someone that's never seen that kind of tree, that doesn't have the brain cells for that, they just see a tree. And even when they agree, oh, so someone that has never seen a banana tree, as an example, then when they see the tree, if there aren't any bananas on it, they just see it as a tree. And someone else says, well, no, it's a banana tree. They don't have the brain cells. They don't see it as a banana tree. Then when they do see it as a banana tree and they see bananas on it, now they've got a visual of that, and they link it and see that's a banana tree. Now the two people that are looking at it, though, they still are seeing something different in their brain cells. Not that it isn't a banana tree. it is a banana tree, or what we've called a banana tree. It's just that we see things differently. We can only see what it is that we have brain cells, that we have contents of information in our brain cells to be able to see that. And the truth of it is we're not actually seeing it. And that's a real biggie to get. And to shift the brain and the mind to get that takes some real work, because that just doesn't make sense. And yet that's what it is. That's what Einstein was saying, is this on such things as matter, we have been all wrong. There's no such thing as matter. There is only energy. Energy whose vibrations have been so lowered that it's perceptible to the senses, that we can do that. And, I bet everyone has had an incident in their life to where that they communicate, or they're in touch with something that they have no idea what it is, and yet they sense it, they feel it. And so they have an intuitive part of it. Of course, that's one of the classes we're going to be doing this summer at Heartland. It's going to be intuitive development, which is really very, very powerful. So if anybody has some questions or thoughts around that, it's like, well, what does that mean, David? And I'll do my best to give you an example. And if there's someone else that would like to make a comment about it, well, then we welcome you to do that. Anybody in the chat room?
They don't have any questions. They're just sitting out there listening. But one of the things that it made me think of is like water. It's if you have a frozen ice cube, frozen water, it's H2O that's vibrating at a certain frequency. And then if you add heat to it, then it becomes liquid, and it's like a puddle, but it's still H2O. It's just vibrating at a different rate. Then if you add more heat to it, it becomes steam, and it floats away. It's still H2O, but it's in a different form. So those three forms of the same substance, kind of reminds me of, you're talking about people at different rates, but we also see it for what it resonates in us. If someone has been burnt, then they might have fear around being near a fire. And someone else sees it as, oh, how warm and cozy and awesome it is to get near that fire. So it's whatever's going on in their brain and in their own memories and their past content is how they visualize something. And it's the same thing with people. We'll see someone and maybe they resemble someone who we say hurt us, quote unquote, around that. In the past, all they did, they brought hurt for us. And so then we look at this new person who we've never met before, but because they remind us of someone else and the old memories come up, then we start putting a prejudgment on this person and we don't even know them. So it's just what goes on in their brain is what goes on in their world.
Yep. So very true, Jeannie. And I remember hearing when the first time I heard this, it's like when we walk into a room of people that our brain, our mind goes, looks at that whole room and instantly has put people in the box, has put them in a category in their mind about that person not ever meeting them, without ever talking to them, just to see that, just based on what it is that's reflecting in the brain cells and the content that we have. Nothing to do with that person. I mean, how many times have you ever met someone or you've seen someone and you didn't really talk with them, and then later you talked with them and you found out, wow, this is really a great person. But before that you talked with them, it was something to be uncomfortable. Then when we do with them, it's like, oh, this person's wonderful. That's because we're tapping into the true essence of who it is that they are. Where before, what our mind does is that it categorizes everything. When we live in fear and hostility, that's all that we can see out there, and it's there to protect itself, to keep itself alive, so to speak. And it's not really keeping itself alive. It's just creating more of the same.
Exactly.
Oh, it's close, isn't it?
We're less than 60 seconds from the end of the show. Again, remind everybody then that Patrick will be with us tomorrow and give us his experience of Heartland. And I wanted to just say real quickly that one of the things that Michael and I did this weekend was we offered that if anybody buys $300 worth of product, that does not include your shipping and handling, but $300 worth of product, that with the product we will also send you a certificate worth $300 towards an intensive summer. So keep that in mind, and I think our time is about to run out. Thank you for joining us on MindShifters Radio. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Jeannie. Blessings, everyone. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.